Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a spooky video for you. Cue scary music. So in today's video I'm going to be telling you the time a ghost snuck up behind me. No clickbait, this actually happened. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe because I put new videos every single week and it helps me a whole bunch now. Let's get to the spooky action. So I'm going to take you back in time to a small bean, Lauren, middle school choir singer. And I was excited, you know, back then I was all about the spooky stuff. I loved a good ghost story, I loved a good spooky movie, maybe like not too horror, but like a little intrigue, a little spooky, a little flair in there. And we were going on a choir trip to Atlanta, Georgia. Now, for those of you who don't know, Atlanta, Georgia is pretty famous for being spooky, all right? A lot of spooky things are happening there. So my little spooky heart was excited. Back then, I was really into all that stuff. Nowadays, I don't watch anything that's even remotely scary. Like, even if there's, like, a cloud in the background, I'm like, nope, sign me out. Too much for me. But back in the day, I was all about it. And even as a little child, I used to play with this, like, ghost statue that had the 3 ghosts from Casper's, and I just thought it was a toy, and I would play with it all the time. And in elementary school, my favorite colors were orange and black, so come at me. Anyway, so part of our tour, you know, we do performing, we go to museums, all that stuff, but the one spoopy thing that was going on was a ghost tour. Now look, I'm all about it. I love ghost stories. I'm excited. Back then I wasn't worried like about getting possessed or anything like that. I was just like, I'm on a journey, let's go. Sorry, didn't mean to show my shoulder. Not that kind of show. Nowadays I'm very sensitive to like spiritual energy, so I won't even go into a cemetery anymore since a ghost followed me back from a cemetery. That also happened. That'll be another story time. But basically, you know, little 12-year-old or 13-year-old me, we're listening to this lady who's given the story. She talks about how, yeah, ghosts just casually follow her home, in her house. She's like, yeah, sometimes I get off a tour and, like, we're in the bus and then a ghost is just there and it's great. And we're like, does it ever leave? And she's like, nah, sometimes. So that was a solid start. And basically, we're going around all these spooky places. I am freaked the freak out at this point. We've been walking around. There's been like some creepy houses where she says that there's people who are like been possessed before that have passed by them, and she's like, yeah, I'll never forget this. This was her advice when someone asked like, okay, but what if we don't want to get possessed? She's like, you can only get possessed if you're open to being possessed. Who is open to being possessed? Can you tell me, like, literally talk me through who that would be? But you better believe I took that as real advice, and I was like, okay, closed off. I don't want to ghosts, not today. This is not an open house, no real estate. Stay away. After that, we're going up a lovely cobblestone street. We're hanging out. We pass, like, a cute little wheel that turns water. That has a thing, a watermill. Yeah, we passed one of those. I'm like, okay, this is cute. We're having fun. I'm not spooked out. And also, let me just give you a little mention. This is in fall, so literally there's crunchy leaves everywhere. There's wind blowing through the trees. It's maximum spook factor, okay? Then where does the tour guide turn but a graveyard? I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, all right, fine. I'm already creeped out by graveyards because death, all that stuff, but why? Why not? Let's go in a graveyard. So we go into the graveyard. I'm staying right behind the tour guide because, like, look, I'm not going by any of these spirits. I need to be by the expert. In hindsight, she's the one who attracted the ghost, so I probably should have been far away from her. But in my mind, it's like, oh, I'm safe. I'm by her. So I'm following her into this graveyard. I'm at the back, and what I thought was the front, but then she, like, walks to the front. So now I'm in the back of this big group. And you don't want to be in the back of a big group on a ghost tour, especially on a ghost tour. Anyway, we're listening to the tour guide talk about, like, you know, some of the graves and the important people who died here and, like, some experiences she's had. And I'm listening, and I hear some crunching in the leaves. Just some crunching. And I'm like, oh, it's probably just, like, you know, someone else in the group. Then I'm listening more, and I'm like, wait. I'm in the back of the group. I turn around. No one behind me. So I'm like, okay, so it'll stop probably. It's probably the wind, you know, in a stepping motion. Because I know what rustling leaves sounds like. This was not rustling leaves. So the stepping motion is happening. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm sure it'll stop. This goes on for a solid 45 seconds. It's someone just coming closer and closer behind me. And I'm just like, you know what? Nope, and then it stops. I'm like, okay, we're good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go through this group. Not going to be in the back anymore. Let's swivel on under. So I'm, you know, sitting next to a tree, and I'm like, okay, we're Gucci now. We're chilling. It's all good. Then, not 30 seconds later, the tour guide's like, oh yeah, you know, in this tree here, You know, it will happen here often, actually. And I'm like, oh, we have picnics under it. Everyone's fine. We pin the tail on the donkey, you know, just good times. She's like, so what happens here is there's a little ghost girl who will hang out in the branches. Guess who's the only person under the tree? Guess who's right under the branch that she's talking about? This girl. Excuse me, I'm filming. My kitten is playing with cardboard. Excuse me, they're trying to be spooked. This is rude. Oh my gosh, sorry, so sorry. Anyway, so you know, then I'm like, okay, great, I move again, because I'm like, not today, not today. So after that, we're walking in the group again, and the last little moment that really sealed the event was we're walking and we get into this like cute little town square. It's adorable. And we're in the middle of the square and I hear walking again on the cobblestones, clearly footsteps, but no one in the group is moving. It's very late at night. There's no one like around the streets or anything. We are the only people in this little town area. You're thinking, oh, maybe that's like a sound speaker was doing that. Maybe it was. I don't know. But how is it that like I was the only one who heard it? I have special speaker ears. They were only tuning in to that chick, little chubby blonde with the emo bangs. No, stop. And after that, I was like, nope. There was a little bit more to the tour, but you better believe that I was checked out. I was like, nope, not today, not today. I was terrifying. That's just one of my ghost stories. I have another one that is another paranormal encounter, so I'm sure I'll make another story time about that. But if you liked that, be sure to subscribe, because I put out new spooky videos. That's a lie. They're not always spooky. They're sometimes silly, sometimes salacious, sometimes sarcastic. But if you like any of those words, be sure to subscribe, because I put new videos every single week, and it helps me a whole bunch. Subscribe. Stay spooky.